right, I'll just squeeze down here. Shrink myself a little bit. All right. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to Carvis Twig's Bird of the Day. And I said, oh, we're doing a spooky bird today. Well, there's lots of spooky birds, but also it's like I've kind of already covered pretty much all of them. But this is one that's a type of bird. And there are many birds in this type of bird that are very spooky. But this one might be the spookiest looking of this type. It's certainly the most colorful. Today's bird of the day is the king vulture.
Oh man, that what is it? Plumage on the nose, man.
It's kind of like a turkey's giblet thing.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
It's not plumage. It's not a feather. In fact, you know, vultures are very famously not feathered on their head, except for bearded vultures. But they're a side case, but we love them.
He looks so angry.
He looks so angry, staring at you. He's looking at you like you're a carcass. Well, oh my God, Carria! I shouldn't have done this bird of the day with you. You're dead. Oh no!
Oh no!
Vulture's gonna come after you. Oh no!
It's fine. I'm used to fighting them all.
Okay. Yes, today we are talking about the king vulture. Let me tell you a little bit more about him. Wow.
Oh, he's kind of cute here.
Yeah, this angle's kind of cute. Well, their eyes are amazing. Just that
they're
pure
so
bright,
white.
Like that. Well, it's red on white on black. Just so you have that white contrasting both the red and the black. And it's just it's stark and it stands out. It's just absolutely beautiful. And they are actually, in terms of the colors, they are the most colorful species of vulture.
Really?
Yes.
I guess it's not surprising looking at them.
Yeah. So they're actually not that big as far as vultures and condors go, 26 to 32 inches long, which is still a pretty big bird. Don't get me wrong. But like you compare them
that's still pretty massive.
You compare them to their neighbors, the Andean condor, and they much smaller than the condor. But a 48 to 66 inch wingspan, that ain't nothing to just, you know, tip your nose at. It's a pretty big wingspan. Weighing about 6 to 10 pounds. And this is another one of those species, which is very typical of accipitriforms, which is your hawks, eagles, and so the order that they're in includes hawks, eagles, kites, and vultures. And as is typical with them, the females are usually going to be about 10 to 20% bigger than the males. Yeah. Which is also true of falcons, and it's also true of owls. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Birds of prey, the ladies are a little bit bigger, like their Amazons or something like that. Yeah.
I've always liked that in birds where the women are bigger. It's cute.
Yeah. Their lifespan's pretty good for a bird, 20 to 25 years in the wild, and the oldest ever in captivity was actually 29 years and 11 months. Almost made it to his 30th
right
birthday.
at 30.
And that's the oldest known. I mean, it's possible they've lived longer in the wild, but we don't know. But, you know, it's usually typical that you live longer in captivity because there's less things that... Nature's scary and dangerous, even for a big bird like this.
I mean, I imagine their diet's probably better, too. No accidentally eating something that's got, like, parasites in it or something.
Yeah, they eat a little bit healthier. So you see the range there. The red area is where you're going to find them. So you're going to find them pretty much in the Amazon. They like those jungled areas, some coastal areas, and they even get up as far into southern Mexico. So pretty widespread bird. Pretty widespread.
Yeah, South America's huge, so that's a pretty large area for them to be in.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Not bad at all. And shows that they like the flat forested areas as well as the mountains. Although they don't seem to go too far south of the Andes. That kind of seems to be a barrier for them. But yeah. So other than their size, the males and the females are almost identical in appearance. There is no difference in their plumage. There is no difference in their facial markings. Basically, they say, hey, if we see one that's a little bit bigger, that one's probably female. But usually the only way to be absolutely sure is if an egg comes out of it, you're pretty sure it's a female.
That'll do it.
Yeah. And down there, we've got actually the picture. That's not a vulture feeding the baby. That's a sock puppet that's made to look like a mother. So this is a little baby that was rescued from a bad situation, and they're feeding the little baby with a sock puppet that looks like an adult. They do that a lot to make sure that the babies, because they want to release this baby into the wild, and they want to make sure he's not acclimated to humans too much. So they use these little sock puppets to feed it. It's kind of
that makes sense. Yeah. You don't want it to you don't want a bird like this to be reliant on humans.
Yep. And then, another thing that I love is that the pairs typically mate for life. They're going to find their mate usually in their 3rd or 4th year. And once they form a mating pair with that one, they're going to stick together until one of them dies. And if one does die, they will find another mate. But typically they are going to stick together for life. And I think that's very
so cute.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Now, their nests, they tend to like finding hollow places, like big hollow trees are their favorite, but they've been known to like go into little like caves that might be like in an outcropping on a cliff or something. Any nice hollow area. And then their nests are just going to bring in some stuff like, you know, your grass and twigs and stuff, and not do the intricate weaving that a lot of other birds do. But what they are going to do to their nest is they're going to vomit all over it and make it really stinky and horrible smelling.
Rude.
Which apparently works very well to ward off predators because it smells like death. It smells like rotting, vomity death. And honestly, if you're looking for a snack, like an egg, because a lot of predators like to eat eggs, and if you smell that, well, you're not gonna go looking for an egg in a place that smells like rotting, horrid death. So it actually works really well to protect their egg, which it is egg. They only lay 1 egg a year, which is really low.
Yeah, that's... Wow.
Yeah. But they have a much higher success rate than almost any other birds. So that 1 egg, that 1 baby is far more likely to survive into adulthood than, say, like a chickadee that has, you know, 3 clutches of 6 eggs a year. You know, maybe 3 of them are going to survive to the next year. Whereas, like, this little baby... the baby sticks with his parents, and usually until they're about 2 years old. So both parents are helping, and you know they fledge after about 5-6 months, and are able to fly and get on their own. But they stick with their parents and the parents help protect them. So yeah, their babies do very well on their own. And nice thing is that both parents take quite an active role in it. They both incubate the egg. Well, you know, so like daddy will be incubating while mom goes to find some food and vice versa. And they both help raise and feed the baby chick. So I like that, you know. Good dual parent raising. Nice to see that in the bird world. Not all birds do that.
So is that why they have such a higher chance to survive? Is because of the dual parent raising? You have 2 sets of things to take care of them?
Yes, that is very much a way to do it. It finds the more adult birds that help raise a baby, the higher success rate they have. That's why crows do so well, because we raise our siblings even.
Well, like, you know what they say, it takes a village.
Yeah, or like, you know, baby penguins, they're in giant flocks of lots and lots of penguins, so they survive better too because they got a whole community looking out for them. Whereas, like, yeah, a lot of the little songbirds, it's like you might have dad around, but...
Dad's too busy singing.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid, dad's got to go to the singing store for a pack of sings.
Yeah, so, yeah, these vultures are excellent parents. Yay! Not sounding very spooky, are they? But I mean, I guess filling up your nest with vomit's a little scary.
A little bit.
A little bit. All right, so I mean, they are vultures. So obviously, the thing that makes them vultures is that they are scavengers and they eat carcasses of all kinds of animals. They don't care what you are. If you dead, we gonna eat you. Yeah. And, you know, it could be anything from a small little mouse to a large, you know, deer of some type. And these guys, there's actually quite a bit of debate that I found on this. It seems like the current consensus is right now is that they use both their sight and their sense of smell, but there's some ornithologists that say they don't use their smell, but it's been going back and forth. It's a big debate. So, I don't know. This might be inaccurate at some point, but... A lot of ornithologists believe that they do use their smell to find carcasses, which makes sense. They do have good olfactory glands, so they do have a good sense of smell. But you know, they go and they eat carcasses, and I know I've said this in previous Birds of the Day before, but you know, the reason that vultures don't have feathers on their head is because they're literally putting their head inside a dead carcass and trying to pull the meat out of it. So if there was feathers on their head, those feathers would get all gummed up with dead, rotting stuff and could cause bacterial growth and infection, and it could be bad. So the lack of feathers actually helps protect them from disease from the dead things they're eating. So it's
I never thought about that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's why they do it. But these guys are incredibly hygienic, and after they're done feeding, they will seek out a body of water and they will take a bath.
Aw.
Yeah, which not all species of vulture do that, but these the king vulture loves to stay clean. They're, you know, for a creature that eats dead things, they're actually very hygienic and very focused on staying clean and neat, which I think is pretty neat.
That is cool.
But there is one thing they do when it's really warm out to regulate their body heat. And I've talked about other birds that do this, and it's never not gross. They poop on their own legs.
I mean, it makes sense.
Well, they can't sweat, so it kind of does the same thing as sweat.
It's gross, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it works, and it's coming out of their own body, so they don't really get infections by it. But yeah, you know, poop legs, all poop legs. Now, interesting thing is that these birds do not have a call. They don't have vocal cords. They are incapable of doing it. They can still make some grunting sounds and some clicks and whistles, but they don't have vocal cords to make an actual call. So they're actually a pretty quiet bird most of the time, and they don't really use sounds to communicate like other birds do.
That's really interesting. I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Yeah.
That they could be born without vocal cords.
Yeah, it's just for some reason they evolved to not need them. Don't know where that was an evolutionary advantage, but it is. So there we go. No, I mean, I'm sure they do a little bit of communicating with the clicks and grunts and stuff, but like it's not like us crows. We're chatty fellas. But yeah, these guys might be like, hey Twig, why are they called king vultures? Well, it has to do with a Mayan legend that they were the messengers of the gods, and they were basically kings.
That's kind of funny considering no vocal cords. How are they going to give a message?
I know, right? That's funny. I didn't even think about that before, but yeah, they are Mayan messengers of the gods, working with old Quetzalcoatl and all that other stuff. But there are some other birds and stuff that are scavengers, and they say that when these guys show up to a carcass, the other birds will, like, without even being attacked, will just, like, get out of the way and be like, oh, you go ahead and eat.
All yours, buddy.
And so that's another reason they got named king, because they're, like, treated like kings by other scavengers. So, okay, sure, that works. Now, I didn't put it in the thing because I saw contradicting information on several different sites. Some sites said they have extremely powerful beaks that can rip through thick hides. And I saw other ones that said their beaks are weak compared to most other vultures, and they're unable to get through the hides of really large things like cattle and elk. And I'm like, okay, so which of that is true?
Yeah, which is it?
And I'm not sure, because I wasn't able... Like, I saw contradictory information from sources that are usually pretty reliable. Well,
I don't have anywhere near as much, knowledge on birds as you do, but I do know a tiny bit. I feel like it's probably that they can't because they're,
their beaks don't look as big as some other ones. Like, you compare their beak to an Andean condor. Andean condors have much bigger, sharper beaks. So I think
their beaks are also way more round. I'm noticing. Most vultures I've seen in the past have pretty narrow, almost not tongue, straw-like beaks almost.
Yeah,
it feels like, because that way they can root around in there better. They're much more longer and stuff. These seem like smaller and stouter. So I'm wondering if maybe they can't. Like, that's why they can't tear through stuff. There's just not as much power there.
I think I agree with you. I think they probably aren't that good at getting the real big ones, but they probably do just fine enough eating things like rabbits and.
Yeah, that's my guess, just looking at them.
And you know, people may think like, "Hey, vultures, that's gross. They're eating dead bodies." But I mean, scavengers are actually very important for keeping the environment clean and, you know.
Yeah, extremely.
Yeah, they're extremely beneficial. And it's kind of funny that they get, you know, being in the same order as eagles and not falcons, but eagles, hawks, and kites, that they're classified as a bird of prey. But they don't hunt. They're not a bird of prey. Even though they're a bird of prey, that's not a bird of prey. They don't have prey. They eat dead stuff. So I think it's kind of interesting, like, that they still have that designation. But
yeah, that is.
Vultures are sweet boys. It's like, do I call them spooky? Yeah, it's just like vultures kind of have that spooky reputation, but it's more like they're associated with death, and that kind of makes them spooky. So it's like, I don't know, I still kind of put them in the spooky category, but in real life and practice, they're helpful, good birds, and they're nice family birds. And yeah, I mean,
they're like nature's trash compactors.
I mean,
they eat it all
compared to
up.
the first picture, you look at this guy. This guy just wants a hug.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now that we've learned all about him, I think he's actually pretty cute.
Yeah, they're pretty cute. Yeah, I don't think you're ugly. I don't think that weird growth on your beak is unsightly. I think it's cute, and I want to like flick it and be like, that'd be mean. They'd bite They'd bite me.
Yeah, that'd be mean. It would be fun though. I get the urge.
Yeah. Well, and look, they got little tiny fuzzy hairs on their head. Maybe you could just give them little light scritches.
Just give them a little pet. Like, I mean, listen, there's very few animals, even some of the most like dangerous and voracious animals out there. There are very few animals that don't enjoy a little scritch.
The human hand was evolved specifically to give animals scritches.
Exactly.
That's what. Fine motor controls for inventions and tools. No, it's to give animals scritches. That's what it's all about. Give your local animal scritch. Hey, if you're watching right now and you got an animal in the room with you, if it's like a cat or dog or bird or any other kind of animal, give a little scritch for me. Get a little scritch for me.
A little scritchy poo.
Yeah. But yeah, so one of my thoughts on the king vulture, one of my favorite vultures. Great bird. Love this bird. They're a wonderful little bird, and I had so much fun researching them. And also, I swear I thought I had done this bird in the past, but I hadn't.
Well, I'm happy to be here for him because yeah, I also think these are really, really cute vultures. I as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, as far as I know, a lot of other vultures have a reputation for being like pretty like antisocial and a bit violent, even like not just to people, but even to like other birds and stuff. Mm-hmm. And these guys seem a lot like nicer, a lot chiller. Maybe it's just because other birds leave them alone. I don't know, but
yeah,
these guys seem really nice. They seem really sweet.
Yeah, they're good birds. That's why they're the king vultures. Or queen vultures.
A worthy title, I think.
All right. Well, we're going to call this bird of the day done, and we're going to head back over to the studio.